Okay, we're back into it. Let's talk about how leaders understand delegation. Let's dive deeper into delegation. We've touched on it in earlier stories. It is an area that as leaders, we really need to understand. It's a tool and a process we must use to lead. But do we really know what delegation is and the impact of our delegation style? First, let's quickly revise what delegation is and what it isn't. Delegation is about using time efficiently and effectively. It is about collaboration, and it can be about building capacity. On the other side, delegation is not about dumping. It could involve telling, amongst other things. When we delegate, we really need to understand the people we are working with and delegating to. Different people are able to take on delegation at different levels because of their understanding of their situation, their prior experiences and their skill base, remembering too that their abilities may differ from task to task. Our role as a leader is to assess and to understand these skills and needs, and then to delegate in a way that utilises these skills, builds capacity and gets the results we want. Noel Birch was early in the development of a model of competence. He introduced us to the 4 stages of competence, a conscious competence model. Individuals don't necessarily work through these stages with each delegation. They may jump into level 4 in one scenario and work at level 2 in another. They would have worked through the previous levels at some stage of their career, just not necessarily for this piece of work that you want done. Let's look at those 4 stages. Level 1 is unconscious incompetence, where they're unaware of the skills needed and a lack of proficiency. In other words, I really don't understand the situation. I don't really understand that I don't have the skills at the moment to complete the task. Level 2 is a conscious incompetence, where you're aware of the skills needed, but you're not yet proficient. I know what the task is and the skills you need, and I'm aware that I don't have the ability to do this proficiently at this time. And level 3 is a conscious competence. You're able to bring the skills needed and implement this with a conscious effort and application. I have to put a lot of thought into the process and what is needed, but I can do it. Level 4 is an unconscious competence, where you're performing the task automatically. I know what you need me to do. I've done this type of thing before. I can do it automatically with little additional thought to put this into action. Okay, so if we know these levels of competence and who we can delegate to, what does this mean? Effective delegation requires a clearly established goal, shared understandings, defined tasks, established levels of delegation, expectations and timeframes, understanding of how my work interacts with others, knowing who the right person for the job is this time, and levels of support needed to complete the task. So then let's look into it. Let's look at delegation itself. BusinessBalls.com have a great written piece defining 10 levels of delegation. I've taken these and turned them into a continuum. Level 1 is a low level of delegated freedom, autonomy, authority, responsibility, decision-making and accountability. Well, level 10 pushes these all to a very high level. The continuum outlines the rules to follow at each level and the perspective of the person delegating and the action of the person being delegated to. It's an incredibly enlightening framework. Let's have a wee look at it. So if we start at level 1, this is all about instruction, not delegation. As a leader, I'll tell you what to do. The person waits to be told. They do exactly what I say, follow these instructions precisely. That's working at a really low level of delegation. Well, instruction. Level 2, it's where The delegator retains responsibility. In other words, look into this and tell me the situation. I will decide. It's about investigation and analysis, not recommendation from the person you've delegated to. Level 3 is a shared decision-making stage, and you're beginning to frame that with a coaching lens. We would say things like, look into this and tell me the situation and we'll decide together. Level 4, we're starting to get into a growth model. Tell me the situation and what help you need from me in assessing this, and then we will discuss and decide. There's that greater level of freedom for investigation and analysis and decision making. Level 5, the leader checks the thinking before making decisions. Give me your analysis of the situation and a recommendation. I'll let you know whether you can go ahead or not. So we're asking the person to complete an analysis and make a recommendation. Level 6, the boss controls the timing. You decide and let me know your decision and wait for my go-ahead before proceeding. That means they are being asked to assess the situation and options. Level 7 is that positive default. It's a liberating stage for many, many people. Decide and let me know your decision and go ahead unless I say. It's increased responsibility and accountability. Level 8 is hands-off, time efficient, is a follow-up role from the person delegating, and they provide some positive feedback. So they would say things like, decide and take action, let me know what you did and what happened. So there's a greater distance for the person taking on the delegation, and it's relatively autonomous. Level 9 is getting into the exciting stage, and mostly as the leader, when you're offering that delegation, it's the most freedom that you can give somebody while retaining the responsibility. So you're still responsible, but you say things like decide, take action, you don't have to check back with me, I'm here if you need me. And so for the person taking on the delegation, there's that high responsibility and high accountability. And level 10 is that tipping point. It's where you as the delegator are really just strategically overseeing and checking that things get done, and you devolve that level of responsibility. It's that stage of succession planning. The accountability is all on the person you've delegated to. It's where you would say things like, decide where the action needs to be taken, manage the situation accordingly, it is your responsibility now. So there's a whole lot of strategic responsibility, and accountability is at an extreme. So if you look at that continuum, that will show you different ways of working with different people. And you could work out from their skill base where they might fit and what their needs might be. So delegation is the key to effective teams, effective workplaces, and optimizing results. Reflect, where does your comfort level of delegation fit? Are you able to delegate? Because some people can't. They like to control. Are you a micromanager and a control freak? Can you actually let go? Do you have the skills and the relationships? And have you built the culture in your workplace that allows you to coach? Does your leadership style allow you to delegate? Or will your team see this as you just giving them more work? Or do they see this as an opportunity to grow? The impact of your delegation depends on you. Have you developed the credibility as a leader that will enable you to delegate and get great results? Effective delegation actually depends on you. Delegated results are your responsibility.